everybody. It's Rabbi Andrea and Lucy, and we really miss you. We miss seeing you at preschool. We miss seeing you at religious school. And so we thought we might share a couple of songs to help us get ready for bed, and even a story as well. But Lucy's going to start us with a song.
We're building a better world. We're building a better world. We're building a better world. One person at a time. And the world goes round and round. The world goes round and round and round. And the world goes round and round. The world goes round and round and round. Let's build a world with love. We're building a world with love. We're building a world with love. We're building a world with love. One person at a time. And the world goes round and round. The world goes round and round and round. And the world goes round and round. The world goes round and round and round. Let's build a world with friends. We're building a world with friends. We're building a world with friends. We're building a world with friends. One person at a time. And the world goes round and round. The world goes round and round and round. And the world goes round and round. The world goes round and round and round.
Thanks. So, here's a story. Once long ago, in a faraway land, there lived a queen. And this queen was wise and kind and compassionate and loving. And the queen had 3 children. Her oldest daughter, Sarah, was also all of those things that the queen was, and she was especially strong. And her son, her second child, her son, Jacob, he was also had all the wonderful qualities of his mother, and he was very, very clever. And the queen's third child, Kel, they were all the things that their mother was, but also Kel was very, very insightful. Kel could see things that lots of other people couldn't see. So the queen was getting older and knew that soon she would have to pass on her queendom to one of her children to take over as ruler. And she didn't know who to choose because she loved them all. So she decided to create a contest, and whichever child fulfilled the requirements of the contest the best, that child would become the next ruler. So the contest was this. The queen gathered her 3 children together and took them down to the basement of the castle. And then, the very farthest corner of the basement of the castle, there was a door that the children had not seen before. And the queen opened the door and went down the stairs, because there was a sub-basement. And then at the farthest corner of the sub-basement, there was a door that they went through, and they went down one more flight of stairs to the sub-basement of the castle, where it was pitch black. There was one room in the sub-basement. It was dark, dark, dark. And the queen said to her children, whichever of you can fill this room from floor to ceiling, wall to wall, top to bottom, corner to quarter, with no space in between, not even an inch, you will become the next ruler of our land. So Sarah, the oldest, began. Remember, Sarah was strong. And so Sarah went out to the quarry with a wheelbarrow and got the biggest rocks she could find. And she took them back into the castle, down to the basement, down to the sub-basement, down to the sub-basement, into the room, dumped the rocks, went back for more. Oh, they each only had 24 hours to fulfill this task. So, right, she had to do this all in 24 hours. Back and forth she went, from the quarry to the castle to the sub-basement, until the clock was ticking, 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 ticking. Time was almost out, and she laid the last rock into the room, and it looked pretty full. There were big boulder rocks from floor to ceiling, wall to wall, corner to corner, and she brought her mother down, and the queen looked inside and said to Sarah, "You've done so well. This is amazing. You are so strong. But if I stick my hand right in here, I can put my whole hand in between these spaces, between these big rocks. So unfortunately, you did not fully fulfill the requirements of the contest." Sarah was sad, but knew she had tried her best. And now it was Jacob's turn. Jacob, you remember, was clever, so he knew that the big rocks did not work to fulfill the challenge, so he decided he would fill the room with sand. Took the same wheelbarrow, went to the beach, filled it with sand, went downstairs to the basement, to the sub-basement, to the sub-sub-basement, dumped the sand in, back and forth for 24 hours, didn't take a break to eat, just kept going and going and going. And as the hour ticked down to the final hour, the room was only halfway full. There just wasn't enough time. So he brought his mom down, the queen, and she saw, and she said, "Jacob, I'm so proud of you for trying something new. It was a great idea. I'm sorry it didn't work." So the last child, Kel, decided that they would survey what their siblings had done, and then Kel did the strangest thing. Kel went for a long walk in the woods. Kel had a really great meal that they made for themselves. Kel took a nice long nap in their bed, and their siblings were astounded. They kept saying, "Kel, you have got to get moving. The hours are ticking away. What are you doing?" Until finally, there's only 5 minutes left. And Kel grabbed their mom and their brother and their sister and brought them down to the basement, to the sub-basement, to the sub-sub-basement, opened the door to the room, and then brought everyone in and said, "Close the door." And they were in darkness. They had never been in such darkness before. And the queen couldn't see, and Sarah couldn't see, and Jacob couldn't see, but they heard a rustling, like Kel was retrieving something from their pocket. And then they heard a sound, like whoosh, and a match was lit. And they all looked around, and the light filled the room, from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, from corner to corner, every inch, every millimeter, every space in that room was filled with light. And the queen smiled and said, "Kel, you understand. You know that it is important to be strong when you're the leader, and it is important to be clever. But the most important thing of all is to know that when times are dark, when it feels scary, and people are filled with worry, the most important thing a leader can do is to remind us that we have the power to make light." So Kel became the next ruler of the land, was a wonderful ruler, and it's an important reminder to us all. Whenever we get scared, whenever we get worried, it's okay to feel those things, but it's also okay to remember that you and me and Lucy and all of us, we have the power to make light wherever we are, to make our days just a little bit brighter. The end.
Thanks, Rabbi Andrea. That was beautiful. So every night before we go to bed, we say 2 prayers, Shema, which you probably know, and Hashkiveinu, which you might not know, but we'll learn it a little bit together. Hashkiveinu asks God to shelter us with peace and safety. So we sing that